Let us read verse number 137. Atranatmanyhamiti matirbandha eshosya pumsah prapto jnana janana marana klesha sampata hetuhu yenaivayam vapuridamasat satyamityatma buddhya pushatyukshatyavati vishayaistantubi koshakritvat. Let us see the simple meaning first. Atra, here. Here in this matter, in this context, in this topic. Or you can also say atra. Atra means now here. Now here means so far we have been seeing the nature of the self. Now listen. He is changing the topic. Therefore he is using the word atra. Here now in this context, anatmani ahamiti matihi bandha. Very simple definition of bandha Shankaracharya gives. What is bondage? Anatmani, in the not self, aham iti matihi, the notion of I. In the not self, the notion of self. This is the bondage. Asya pumsaha, for this person. Bondage is anatmani atma buddhihi. The notion of I in the not self, in the upadhis. That is what is bondage. Anatmani atma buddhihi. In the not self, the notion that I am that. Eshaha bandha asya pumsaha. This is the bondage for a human being. So considering that upadhis are me, I am this body, I am this mind, I am this intellect, I am that ignorance. Considering this notion of me being this, not self, that itself is bondage. But here you see, this is not a bondage which is put by somebody else. My wrong notion itself is bondage. My wrong notion, which means what? Bondage is put by me. So who has to put efforts? Me. Also, the entire bondage is in mind. Why? Because my wrong notion of upadhis being the self, that is the bondage. So at any point of time, I start to understand that, okay, I am this and I am not this and I am that. The moment I start to realize this, my bondage starts to go. Now, what does he say next? Beautiful. Praptah ajnanat. From where is this bondage born? Ajnanat praptah. It is gained by ignorance, due to ignorance. From the ignorance it is born. So bandha. What is that bandha? Anatmani atma buddhi. This notion, wrong notion, is what is bondage. And from where is this wrong notion born? From ignorance. Praptah ajnanat. Born from ignorance means what? You can say bandha is misapprehension. Misapprehension, wrong understanding, delusion, which is caused by ignorance, non-apprehension. Non-apprehension of what? Non-apprehension of my own true nature or non-apprehension of the reality. Not knowing the nature of the self, not knowing who am I have misunderstood myself to be body, mind, intellect. This is a standard mistake that all of us do. When we don't know something, we assume something else. So I don't know, ignorance of the self causes the wrong notion that I think I am this body, mind, intellect. Praptah ajnanat. Ajnanat praptah. This bondage, eshaha bandha, this bondage is born from ignorance. But Veji, it's okay. It's okay. It's born from ignorance. Let it remain. No, what is your problem? What is the problem with bondage? Immediately next he says, Janana marana klesha sampata hetuhu. Just as this bondage is born from ignorance, it doesn't stop there. It further gives rise to something. It becomes hetu. It becomes cause. It is the cause for what? Sampata. It is the cause for hitting. Sampata means hitting actually, means samsara. Hitting of what? Klesha. Klesha, pain, sorrow, suffering. Suffering of what? Janana marana. Birth and death. So bondage is the cause of samsara, of suffering, of birth and death. So you see, in the first pada, Shankaracharya defined what is bondage. Anatmani ahamiti matihi eshaha bandhaha. In the second pada, he gives the cause of bondage and effect of bondage. What is bondage caused from? It is caused from the ignorance. And what does it cause? What is the effect of bondage? The effect of bondage is samsara. Careful. Our problem is samsara, which is caused by bondage, bandha, which is caused by ajnana. Get this chronology clear. Ajnana causes bondage. Ajnana, non-apprehension, not understanding who am I. Causes misapprehension, delusion that I am the not self, I am upadhis. Now, because I consider myself to be upadhis, I will have to go through different births. Why? Because now I am considering myself to be the body, mind, intellect, this jiva. Then I will have different births, isn't it? It is like when in my dream I consider myself to be an individual in the dream, I have to go through joy and sorrow of the dream. The moment I wake up, joy and sorrow is over. Are you getting it? So, atra anatmani ahamiti buddhi bandha yashosya pumsaha praptah ajnanat, born from ignorance, janana marana klesha sampata hetuhu, and it causes the suffering, samsara suffering of birth and death. Now again somebody will say, but Vivekji, let it be. What is your problem? I will want to have lots of births. You have not thought about it, my dear. That's why you think you want to have lots of births. All is well when our mood is well. But when that negative mood strikes, then what happens? Then we don't want birth. Forget about next birth. We don't want this birth only. We are done. I am done with people. I don't want to see anybody's face. Suddenly we just... Why? Because now things are not going according to you. Then what? Then there is nobody. I thought this is my best friend, but nothing is there. I thought life partner, nothing. My family, everybody is now gone. Why? Because now things have started to move a bit. Intelligent person is the one who thinks from both sides and says neither that joy nor that sorrow is worth. Why? Because even that joy is limited and sorrow is very painful. My dear, both joy and sorrow are because you have not understood the main point. Understand the main point and there won't be any joy and sorrow. It's exactly like dream. Suppose in dream, it's a good dream, you are happy. A bad dream, you are sad. The point is both are not worth. Why? Because they are not real. A bad dream. So, it's a bad dream because you consider yourself to be the dreamer. And then you are going through the suffering. What do you mean bad dream? The moment you wake up, what happens? The entire dream is gone. Then you understand what a fool I was, running away from the sorrow I was all the time. Understand that I am not this and everything will end. At one point, one stroke, everything will stop. Just think about it. Such small things create sorrow in our life. Just think. Sometimes when we are sad, that's the best time to analyze. Not analyze others, analyze yourself. Mistake that we do is when we are sad, we start analyzing other people. Analyze yourself. See how petty small things become so big for us when we are in bad mood. Really ask question, why am I sad? And you will get a very funny answer. I am telling you. Why? Because the thing will be so small. It's not even worth spending one moment to discuss about it. Forget about being sad for it. Somebody called me mad. Big deal. Somebody said something. Somebody smiled at me. Somebody did not smile at me. Somebody said hi. Somebody did not say hi. What are we being sad about? Now the cause of all that sorrow, all that pain, all that suffering is because of bondage. And that is why we need to remove it. If ajnana causes bondage and bondage doesn't cause anything, then we are fine. But the problem is bondage causes that samsara of suffering. And therefore, this bondage has to be removed. Now, how to remove the bondage is not the topic here. Here we are only going to discuss what is bondage. And that also why the topic Ko Nama Bandha. We should know what we are fighting. The enemy should be known or no? We should know what we are fighting. Is the enemy outside or is the enemy inside? Have I created the bondage or is somebody else created the bondage? What is that bondage which we are trying to remove? That is the discussion that is going on. So, nature of bondage is what? Anatmani Atma Buddhi, the notion of I in the not self. And what is the cause and effect of bondage? Cause is ignorance, effect is samsara. So, ajnana creates bandha, which creates samsara. This is the chronology. Now what? Now Shankaracharya says, Yena eva, by which alone I am this person. Idam vapuhu asat. This body here is upalakshana for all the three kinds of bodies, all the upadhis. This body which is asat, which is unreal, satyamiti, considers the unreal body to be real. See? Because of which bondage, this person, this jiva, individual, considers the unreal upadhis to be real. Not only he considers unreal upadhis to be real, Atma Buddhya, he considers them to be me. Anatmani Atma Buddhi. Now here Shankaracharya says, in that Anatma, in that not self, which is asat, which is unreal, first the person considers it to be real. And then it considers to be me. Now first this asat, unreal thing appears to be real. And then we think it is me, Atma Buddhya. And what does it do? Considering the body to be me, what does it do? Atma Buddhya pushyati. See, next one. Pushyati, ukshati, avati vishayaihi. Can you see that? Pushyatyukshatyavati vishayaihi. That is that. Pushyati, ukshati, avati. Pushyati means what? He nourishes the body. Ukshati bathes the body. Ukshanam, prokshanam. Put water and every day, twice. Ukshati. Avati protects, preserves this body. How? Vishayehi, by giving all kinds of sense objects. Pushyati means nourishes. You nourish the body. How? By giving different interesting kind of food. And as I told you, body is just upalakshana. Upalakshana means what? One thing is mentioned, but all other things are to be understood. Mind also is unreal, which is considered real and which is considered me. Now, the person also nourishes the mind, bathes the mind, protects the mind. Pushyati, ukshati, avati vishayaihi. Like what? Beautiful example. Tantubhihi koshakrit vat. Vat means like. Like whom? Koshakrit. Koshakrit, the one who makes kosha. Silkworm is called as koshakrit. Kosh banane wala, koshakrit. The one who makes the kosha, one who makes the silk. Silkworm. Silkworm tantubhihi. By tantu means threads. By the silk threads that it generates. What is the concept? The concept is this silkworm generates silk, and within that cocoon of the silk, that silkworm is bound. Who generated the silk? Silkworm. The cocoon is made up of silk threads generated by silkworms. Who is bound? Silkworm. So with the silk thread that he himself has created, he himself is bound in it. We will say, what a fool. The silkworm which gets bound in the cocoon made up of its own silk threads is us. Don't call them mad. We are that. Why? Because we have given reality to upadhis. Not only reality, we have given notion of self in the upadhis, and the bondage created by us, inside that we are stuck. See? Yena eva ayam, this person, idam vapuridam, asat, which is unreal, satyamiti, considers it real, atma buddhya, and considering it to be oneself, pushyati, it nourishes, ukshati, it bathes, avati, it protects, it preserves. Don't we do that? Just think, from the day we started understanding till now, how many hours we have spent to nourish the body? How many hours? I am sure you cannot even write it on a paper. That many number of hours we have spent. Isn't it? Either beautifying the body, food, all the products, you just start TV, etc. 80% of the commercials, advertisements are to nourish the body. Yes or no? Food items, beauty products, cars, houses, this is for what? The body. See where we are. We have wasted so much time in nourishing something which doesn't exist. Which is unreal, which is not there. Imagine, just imagine. Suppose in the dream, there is a fixed amount of time for which you are going to dream. And in that dream, suppose 80, 90% of the time, you keep on beautifying the body which is going to vanish the moment you get up. What will you say? Arey, what a fool I was, wasting so much of time for doing nothing. Pushyati, ukshati, avati. All this is for what? Thinking that the body, mind, intellect are real and that is me. This is bondage. Okay. So Shankaracharya has explained the nature of bondage, cause of bondage, effect of bondage, and how we are bound by our own notion, like a silkworm. We have given reality to the upadhis, and further we have given the selfhood to the upadhis. The notion of self we have given to the upadhis, and thus creating bondage for oneself. We have got stuck inside. Sometimes you must have seen, I think I must have given this example earlier also. Big vessel used to be there, no, with very small mouth, and they used to keep dhanya, etc., grains, etc. After soaking in the sun, they will put it there in that. And sometimes these monkeys will come, and the monkey will put hand inside and catch the grains. Now, what used to happen, the moment you make a fist out of your hand, the hand is not coming out. Why? Because now hand has become bigger. And so he is trying to remove the hand from this, from this. It's not coming out. Now the person, the owner comes, looks at the monkey, gets a stick and starts beating. The monkey has to do only one thing, to leave the grains and hand will come out. But he's not ready to leave. This monkey is bound by his own notion, by his own mistake, holding on to something else. That is what we have done. We are holding on to anatma. That is the cause of our bondage. That is the point that Shankaracharya ji makes it clear in the next verse. Beautiful meter. I love this meter. The meter is called a Shikharini. I remember I used to tell the meters. After a long time, a new meter has come. We started in the beginning, if you remember. We saw different meters and then the same meters were repeated. Now comes new meter. Shikharini Chandas. Very beautiful meter. 17 letters will be there in each pada, each quarter. So 17, 17, 17, 17 will be there. Very, very beautiful meter. Shiva Mahimna Stotram, those who have chanted or listened to Shiva Mahimna Stotram, is in this meter. Let us read. Verse number 138. Atasminstadbuddhif prabhavati vimudhasya tamasa viveka bhavadvai spurati bhujage rajjudhishana tato narthavrato nipatati samadaturadhikaha tato yo sadgraha sahi bhavati bandha shrunu sakhe. Beautiful meter. Shankaracharya has chosen for a beautiful verse. What is he saying? Atasmins tad buddhihi prabhavati. What is this bondage? Atasmin tad buddhihi. See, atasmin tat buddhihi. Atasmin means what? In that which is not that. Tat buddhihi, the notion of being that. There where it is not there, the notion of it being there is called as bandha. Atasmin, where in the place where it is not there, tat buddhihi, notion of it being there. Prabhavati, rises. Vimudhasya, for a deluded person, vimudhasya, atasmin tad buddhi prabhavati. There rises a notion of something which is not there. Okay? How is it rising? Tamasa. Tamasa, by ignorance. Already we have seen. Bandha is born from ignorance. That's what he says here. This notion of something being there which is not there rises because of ignorance, because of tamas, because of andhakara, because of darkness. And then what? Viveka abhavat. Vai means indeed. Viveka abhavat. Due to the lack of discrimination, absence of discrimination, spurati. There rises what? Bhujage rajjudhishana. Careful. Careful of what is the example. Don't go by your previous knowledge. So far we have heard this bhujanga and rajju so many times, isn't it? Rope and snake example we have seen. Here the example is opposite. Bhujage. Bhujage in the snake. Rajju dishana, feeling that it is rope. Not in the rope, feeling that it is snake. So far we have been, Shankaracharya only gave this example so many places, that there is a rope lying there and you think it is snake and you become afraid. Now remember what is the example? It is actually snake, but you think it is rope, which is more dangerous than the first example. See, if there is a rope which you think as snake, you will remain far from it. Remaining far from snake is not going, far from rope is not going to create much problem. But considering snake to be the rope is more dangerous. Why? You will keep it in hand, thinking that it is rope. Shankaracharya says, Tamasa viveka abhavat bhujage rajju dishana spurati. Two causes he has given. Because of ignorance and lack of discrimination. Because of non-apprehension and misapprehension, what has happened? In the snake, feeling, the notion of rope has arisen. Okay, opposite example it is. Mistaking the snake to be the rope, not rope to be the snake. Mistaking the snake to be the rope. Okay, now, carefully see. Atasmin tat buddhi. Two concepts we have to understand here. One is called as adhishthana and another is called as adhyastha. Adhishthana means substratum. Adhyastha means superimposition. So, in the adhishthana, here snake, you have superimposed a notion of rope which is not there. Rope is not there in the snake where rope is not. Atasmin tat buddhi, notion of rope. Careful. Bhujage, in the snake where there is no rope, rajju dhishana, rajju buddhi. You have got notion of it being rope. In the snake, notion of rope. In the substratum, the notion of superimposition. In the substratum, superimposition, the notion of superimposition. So, adhishthana, substratum, adhyastha, superimposition. And this atasmin tad buddhi, superimposing some other object at a place where it is not there, this is called as adhyasa. Adhyasa, superimposition. The superimposed object in the substratum where it is not there. You are imagining a superimposed some other object at some other place, isn't it? That is called as adhyasa. Shankaracharya ji, in the introduction commentary of Brahma Sutra, explains the concept of adhyasa. Brahma Sutra, as we all know, is the sutra, main literature for Advaita Vedanta philosophy. To establish each darshana, each philosophy, sutra is very important. Sutra is the primary source. For example, you have Nyaya Sutras, you have Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. Isn't it? To establish yoga philosophy, yoga school of thought, yoga sutras are the main. You have Jaimini's Mimamsa, Karma Mimamsa Sutras. Mimamsa Sutras to establish Mimamsa philosophy. To establish Vedanta philosophy, not just Advaita, but Vedanta philosophy in general, Advaita, Vishishta, Advaita, Dvaita, they all have basis in this Brahma Sutra, called as Vedanta Sutras. Shariraka Mimamsa also, sometimes called as Shariraka Sutrani, written by Bhagavan Sri Vedavyasa. Brahma Sutras start with Athato Brahma Jitnyasa. There are 555 sutras. And they are so to say Bhagavan Vedavyasji's PhD thesis or postdoctoral thesis. Comparative study of all the major Upanishads. That is what he has done in this Brahma Sutra. And in that Brahma Sutra, Athato Brahma Jignasa, after the Sutra literature comes the Bhashya literature, commentary. So within the Vedanta philosophy, Shankaracharya, who is propounding Advaita Vedanta philosophy, has written commentary on all the 555 sutras. So too Ramanujacharya ji to establish Vishishtadvaita philosophy, so too Madhvacharya ji to establish Dvaita philosophy. Each of them have to write commentary on it. Right? So Vedanta Sutras, the Brahma Sutra is same. Shankaracharya's commentary establishes Advaita Vedanta. Now in that commentary of Shankaracharya, Shankara Bhashya on Brahma Sutra, before the first sutra, he has given an introduction, which is exemplary introduction. And that section of the Bhashya is called as Adhyasa Bhashya. Shankaracharya's commentary on the concept of Adhyasa. What he has done in that section is, he has explained what is Adhyasa and how this Adhyasa is the main problem. Now you can translate Adhyasa as superimposition, you can translate Adhyasa as bondage, you can also translate Adhyasa as ignorance. This is not a problem. Why? Because in the course of that section, he establishes Adhyasa as all these. And the definition of Adhyasa, that is, he has given Paratra Purva Rupa Avabhasaha, Paratra Purva Drishta Avabhasaha, Smriti Rupaha, Paratra Purva Drishta Avabhasaha, Adhyasaha. First definition. And then he gives another different kinds of definition. But that Paratra means somewhere else. Purva Drishta, what is seen earlier, Avabhasa, appearance. That is what is called as Atasmin Tad Buddhi. Exactly the translation. Notion of rope in the snake where there is no rope. Notion of self in the body where there is no self. Anatmani Atma Buddhi. That is how we have Shankaracharya defined Bandha, isn't it, in the previous. That same is defined now. Atasmin Tad Buddhi Bandha. That is what is called as Adhyasa. So in the Adhisthana substratum, the notion of superimposed Adhyastha, that is called as Adhyasa, superimposition. That is the main problem. How it has come? It has come from ignorance. Why? Because misapprehension is always caused by non-apprehension. You can even say misapprehension is another form of non-apprehension. That way, Adhyasa itself becomes Ajnana, Avidya. We say also, isn't it, Maya has two powers. Isn't it? Avarana Shakti, non-apprehension, Vikshepa Shakti, misapprehension. This is Adhyasa. Cognition of something seen earlier somewhere else. Atasmin tad buddhi. Prabhavati vimudhasya. For a deluded person, this arises. What? The notion of something where it is not there. How? Tamasa. By ignorance. Viveka abhavat. And it persists. It continues to be there. That wrong notion continues to be there because of lack of discrimination. Like what? Bhujage rajjudhishana. In the snake, the notion of the rope. Right? That is what happens. Let it happen. What is the issue? Tataha anarthavrataha nipatati. What do you think if somebody considers snake to be the rope? It will be fine. No, tataha, thereafter, anarthavrataha. Anarthavrata means danger. Nipatati, befalls. A danger befalls. Samadhatuhu, for the person who is holding on to that. For the person who is holding on to the snake, thinking that it is rope, adhika anarthavrataha nipatati. A great danger befalls for such a person. Why? Tataha, therefore, asadgraha yaha bhavati sahi bandha shrunu sakhe. What do you mean? See, if a person is holding on to a snake thinking that it is a rope, a great danger befalls. Why? Because it is only going to lead to sorrow, suffering. You considered rope to be the snake. That is okay, you will remain far from it. But you consider snake to be the rope, you will start playing with it, thinking that it is rope. Look at the timing Shankaracharya has chosen to twist the example. He wants to show that how danger will take place by this kind of adhyasa. In another kind of example, no, where rope is there and you are misunderstanding it to be snake, it is an indication of fear. It is not going to lead to sorrow much as it is going to lead in this case. Samadhatuhu adhikaha anarthavrataha nipatati. A great danger befalls for such a person. Therefore, what? Yah asadgraha. Holding on to asat. Holding on to unreal. What is the unreal we are talking about here? Asat, what is asat? Anatman. Not self is the asat that we are talking about. Holding on to those upadhis as one's own self, sahahi, that alone, bandha bhavati, is the bondage. Shankaracharya says, Shunu sakhe, oh my friend, please listen to me. What? Holding on to upadhis to be yourself, that is the bondage. Don't do that. See how Shankaracharya explains. Atasminstad buddhif prabhavati vimudhasya tamasa viveka bhavadvai spurati bhujage rajjudhishana tato narthavrato nipatati samadhaturadhikaha yah tato yo sadgraha sahi bhavati bandha shrunu sakhe. Oh Sakhe, oh my friend, please listen. Atasmin tad buddhihi. In the not self, the notion of the self. In the not that, the notion of that. That itself is the bondage. Okay. Now, we have understood so far what? That the bondage is not caused by somebody else. Point number one. So don't blame others why you are suffering. You are the cause of your own suffering. Why? Because suffering is caused by bondage. Bondage is caused by ignorance. Whose ignorance? Your ignorance. Don't blame others. I am suffering because of them. No. Swamiji, see what kind of food my wife is making. Your own creation. Nothing that person is doing because of which you are sad. No. Your suffering is caused by your bondage. Why? Because you think I am the body and I am the one eating this food. Therefore, you think the food is tasty or not tasty, isn't it? Don't blame the maker of the food. Unnecessarily. Right? Suffering is caused by wrong notion of self in the not self, which is caused by ignorance of the self. All this is caused by me. No blaming others. Point number one. Point number two. It is only a notion. What do you mean it is only a notion? It's only a wrong notion of the self being the not self, which is bondage, which is caused by ignorance. So to come out of bondage, what is required? Right notion born out of knowledge. Simple. If wrong notion born out of ignorance is the problem, the solution has to be right notion born out of knowledge. So for the problem, for the suffering that we are facing, the only solution is self-knowledge. which I can gain anytime. I don't have to go anywhere to gain that. Why? My wrong notion exists within me. The self also is in me. It is me. So at any point of time, I can understand that I am not the BMI, but I am that Om. I am that Supreme Self. Okay? Please note one more point. Bondage is not real. So too the liberation. Earlier we had seen one story. Camel. The owner of the camel taking him somewhere, not able to tie him. Remember? We had seen. It comes also in Upanishad Ganga. And then he acts as though he is tying the rope, making that camel sit, and the camel sits. Next day morning, according to the camel, rope is there. The person says, get up, the camel does not get up. Why? Because in his notion, he is bound. Actually, there is no rope that is binding the camel. The notion of it being bound is the bondage. Am I actually bound? No, I am not. Have I actually become Jiva? No, I have not. So what is bondage? It is a wrong notion which is unreal. What is liberation? Right notion of me not being this and being the self, which is also unreal. In another term, avidya maya is to be removed by vidya maya. Both are unreal. So even at this very moment, I am not bound. I only think that I am bound. Now the thinking has to change. Even at this very moment, I am not bound. Even when the dreamer is suffering because the dream tiger is chasing, even at that time, the dreamer is not actually bound. Why? Because he is nicely sleeping under AC. No problem. Only the thinking that I am not the waker but I am the dreamer makes that person, dreamer, suffer. Another line in that Adhyasa Bhasha, Shankaracharya says, Yatra yad adhyasaha tatkritena gunena doshena va anumatrena api nasa sambadhyate. Beautiful. He says, Yatra yad adhyasaha. The superimposition exists where? In that substratum, in that supreme self, tatkritena gunena doshena va. By the guna and doshas, by the qualities and faults created by that adhyasa, by that superimposition, anumatrenapi, not even a wee bit, saha sambadhyate. Not even a wee bit the substratum is touched by the superimposed. The snake, which you are understanding to be rope, the rope is not touching the snake even a bit. Anumatrenapi. Even an atom of rope is not touching the snake. And therefore, though we have the feeling of not self in the self is always untouched. Not even a wee bit of this not self is touching the self. And therefore, even at this very moment, I am liberated. I only think that I am bound. Now that thinking has to change, and for that liberation is the answer. When I realize the feeling is not that I have become the self. The experience is that I was, am, and always will be the self. Even when I thought I was Jiva, I was the self only. Even the waker, when he thinks that he is the dreamer, is actually the waker only, isn't it? So when he wakes up, he doesn't say that, thank you, now I was a dreamer, now I have become waker. No, he understands that I was never the dreamer. The dream did not exist. The bondage is in mind. It has to be removed at its level. But the fact is, I am neither bound nor I am going to get liberated. which I am not going to get liberated. If you think you are bound, you need to get liberated. If you think I am the self which is never bound, then you don't have to get liberated. That's the fact. That is the fact. But because I think I am this body, bondage is very much real for me. Though from ultimate sense it is not real, but for me it appears to be very real. Why? Because that notion is very strong. You imagine we are sleeping, and when we are sleeping somebody calls our name and we wake up. You imagine how strong is that? Atasmin tad buddhi. Anatmani atma buddhi is how strong. We don't even agree that there is a possibility of self, of me being apart from the body, mind, intellect. We don't even give a shot. Great masters like Shankaracharya, Gurudev, etc. had to bang us and shake us to come out of this notion, but our notion is very strong. And remember, though we are studying Vivekachudamani, though we are studying different texts, the moment class is over, we are back to feeling that I am the body, mind, intellect. Don't forget this. Here, right now only we are understanding intellectually. Yeah, I am not the body, mind, intellect. I am the Om. Who am I? I am the Om. Who is that? Satchidananda Swarupa. The moment class is over, we are back. Who touched my coffee? Gone. Think about it. This notion of me in the not self is very much real and very much strong. And as much strong the notion, that strong has to be sadhana to remove it. Of course, the Sakshat sadhana is going to be self-knowledge, which will remove the ignorance, the cause of bondage. But that self-knowledge to gain, we have to have chitta shuddhi, chitta ekagrata, the purity of mind and the concentration of mind. Then alone that self-knowledge will be born, that experience will come, which will destroy ignorance, and the bondage will end. The apparent bondage will end. Don't jump the steps. Don't suddenly say there is no bondage. Vedji said, what is the point of the class? There is no bondage. There is bondage. Why? Because the notion of atasmin tad buddhi anatmani atma buddhi is very strong for us. Vimudasya bandha bhavati eva. For a deluded person, there is bondage. Understand the severity of the bondage. You are holding on to a snake, considering it to be rope. And you are saying that I want happiness. How? Holding on to the body to be me and saying that I want happiness. How are you going to get happiness? Okay? This is bandha.